Welcome to the second class on nonlinear vibration. Last class we have studied different types of systems. So, in that we have studied or we have reviewed the linear single degree of freedom systems. Also I told you different elementary parts of vibrating systems. So, for example, for this simple pendulum, so we required disturbing force, then restoring force, inertia force and damping force to have the analysis of vibration. So, for a vibrating system, a main means of storing potential energy, a means of storing kinetic energy and a means of dissipation energy is required. So, as the total energy of the system is constant, that means at this end all the energy are potential energy, then this energy will convert it to kinetic energy as it moves from one position to other position. So, taking this potential energy and kinetic energy of the system, so one can derive the equation motion. Already I told you about two different types of approach to find the equation motion. One is inertia based approach and other one is this energy based approach. So, in case of inertia based approach, so one can use Newton's second law or D'Alembert principle to find the equation motion. So, this is a vector approach, hence it is difficult to apply for continuous or multi degree of freedom systems with very high degrees. So, one can apply this inertia based or inertia based approach for single or 2 degree of freedom systems. Energy based approach, for example, Lagrangian principle or Hamiltonian principle can be used conveniently for multi degree of freedom system. Generally for continuous systems one can use Hamilton principle or extended Hamilton principle. So, last class we have reviewed some part of the linear system. So, this is a spring mass damper system. So, in the spring mass damper system, so one can find the equation of motion by finding the potential energy of the spring, then this inertia of the mass and the damping energy. So, this inertia force equal to mass into acceleration and it acts in a direction opposite to the direction of acceleration. Then the spring force will be equal to the stiffness of the spring and the displacement, and this damping force, as one can consider this as a viscous damping. So, where the damping force is proportional to velocity, so one can find this damping force equal to Cx dot. So, the total equation motion for the system will be mx double dot plus kx plus Cx dot equal to 0. So, if it is free vibration. So, if a force is continuously applied to the system, then that equation will be mx double dot. So, this equation one can write in this form. So, mx double dot plus kx plus Cx dot equal to f, and if this force is periodic, then one can write this force equal to f sin omega t, where f is the amplitude of the force and omega is the frequency of this force. So, instead of a harmonic force in systems, some other type of force may be applied. So, the force may be a impulse type of force, it may be a ram type force, or it may be some other periodic force like triangular force. So, one can use a Shawcott or triangular type of force. So, this is force versus time, or one may use a bang type of force also. So, in all these periodic cases one can convert these forces into its corresponding harmonic force by using Fourier series. So, this single degree of freedom system force vibration one can study, and in this case, so it will the response will contain two parts. One is the transient part and other one is the steady state response. So, in this case, so we have seen, for example, for this spring mass damper system, the equation of motion already we know. So, that is mx double dot plus kx plus Ex dot equal to f sin omega t, and the complete solution becomes, this is the transient part and this is the steady state response. And last class we have reviewed this rotating unbalance, wheeling of shaft, then the support motion and the principle of vibration isolation. And also I told you the sharpness of resonance and the vibration measuring instrument. So, one can use the same instrument as an accelerometer or as a seismometer depending on the natural frequency of the system and the measuring frequency. So, let us review about 2 degrees of freedom systems, multi degrees of freedom system and continuous system briefly. Then I will tell you about the superposition rule for the nonlinear systems. So, in case of 2 degrees of freedom, unlike in single degree of freedom system where we have only single equation of motion, so here we will have 2 equation of motion. So, for example, let me take a double pendulum. So, to derive the equation motion, let this is a double pendulum. So, in this case of double pendulum, to derive the equation of motion, I can use the generalized coordinates or the physical coordinates. So, one can have physical coordinate x1 y1 here, x1 y1 and x2 y2, but one may see that this is a 2 degrees of freedom system only. So, one can use only 2 variables, that is theta 1 and theta 2, to completely represent the motion of this mass and this mass. So, instead of using x1 y1 and x2 y2, one may use coordinates, generalized coordinates theta 1 and theta 2. It may be noted that this x1 y1 and x2 y2, so out of these 4 parameter, so we can reduce 2 parameter by using the constant equation. So, the constant equations are, so this length is constant, let this length is L1, so this length is L2. So, one can have this constant equation x1 minus 0 whole square plus y1 minus 0 whole square equal to L1 square, or x1 square plus y1 square equal to L1 square, and similarly here x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square equal to L2 square. So, these 2 constant equation can be used to reduce these 4 parameter x1 y1 x2 y2 to 2 parameters. So, using these physical parameters or these 2 parameter theta 1 and theta 2, one can find the equation motion. So, to find the equation motion, so either one can use this Newton second law or D'Alembert principle, find the acceleration at this point, find the acceleration at this point, and then equate the or find the equation of motion using Newton's principle. Otherwise, one can use this Lagrange principle or Hamilton principle to derive this equation motion. So, in this case one can see the equation of motion for mass 1 and mass 2. So, one will have 2 equation of motion. So, these 2 equation of motion one can write in this form. So, it will be 2:2. So, I11, I12, I21, I22, theta 1 double dot, theta 2 double dot. So, this is the general expression written for the system. So, K11, K12, K21, K22, theta 1, theta 2 equal to 0, 0. As no external force is acting on the system, then one can write the right hand to be 0. So, in this case, this is the mass matrix or inertia matrix and this is the stiffness matrix. So, if the mass matrix is coupled, that means these non-diagonal elements are present, then the system is known to be dynamically coupled system. Dynamically coupled. But if the stiffness matrix is coupled, that is the off diagonal terms are present, then the system is known to be statically coupled. So, if the off diagonal terms are present, then the systems are coupled. So, for this case it is both, if these off diagonal terms are non-zero, then the system is both dynamically and statically coupled. So, to find the solution of the system, so one can assume this theta 1, theta 2 to be theta 1 max, theta 2 max into e to the power I omega t, and substitute in this equation. Then this equation will reduce to a eigenvalue problem, that is a minus lambda I theta 1 theta 2 equal to 0. So, solving this eigenvalue problem a minus lambda I equal to 0, one can find the frequency of the system. So, where this lambda equal to omega square. So, in this case one can get two eigenvalues corresponding to two mode of vibrations. So, in one mode if one plot, so for the first mode or for one mode, the system may look like this, and for the second mode the system may look like this. So, this shows two mode of vibration. So, this corresponding to the first mode and this correspond to the second mode. So, in this way, for any 2 degrees of freedom system, so one can find two natural frequency by finding the eigenvalue of this matrix. So, for multi degree of freedom system similarly, so one can have a n cross n mass matrix. So, if it is n degree of freedom system, then it will be n cross n mass matrix X. So, it may be written as X double dot plus similarly K. So, K also will be n cross n into X. So, this is equal to, if this is a force system, then this will be replaced by F. So, this mass matrix is n cross n. So, for example, for a 10-storied building, so this will be 10 cross 10 matrix, and the stiffness matrix also will be 10 cross 10, and corresponding to each floor one can have one deflection. So, X will be 10 cross 1. So, to make this uncoupled, so if the off diagonal terms are not present, so for example, if I will write the system like this, let it is M11 0 0 M22 x1 double dot x2 double dot plus k11 0 0 k22 x1 x2 plus, let me add the damping matrix also, C11 0 C22 into x1 dot x2 dot. So, let it equal to, let me write this is F1 and F2. So, in this case the equation can be reduced to two single degree of freedom system equation. For example, in this case the equation will be M11 x1 double dot plus K11 x1 plus C11 x1 dot equal to F1. Similarly, M22 x2 double dot plus K22 x2 plus C22 x2 dot equal to F2. So, we should now we can solve these two equations as that of a single degree of freedom system. So, in this case one can find the transient response and the steady state response of the system. But how to reduce this coupled equation to uncoupled equation? So, for that purpose one can use this modal analysis method. So, one can use modal analysis method to reduce the set of coupled equation to a set of uncoupled equation. So, to find the modal analysis or to carry out the modal analysis, so first one can find the modal matrix P and substitute this x equal to Py. So, y is another coordinate system. So, if one substitute this in this equation, then it will reduce to, so in this case it will reduce, so this equation will reduce to that of a single degree of freedom system. So, let us see. So, by substituting the first equation, so by substituting this, now I can write this equation as m. So, this will be P y double dot plus K P y plus C P y dot equal to F. Now, by pre-multiplying P transpose, so this equation will reduce to P transpose M P y double dot plus P transpose K P y plus P transpose C P y dot equal to P transpose F. So, in this case, by using the orthogonality property of the modes, so one can find this P transpose M P is a diagonal matrix. Similarly, this P transpose K P is a diagonal matrix. For many cases, this damping matrix can be replaced by the Rayleigh damping. So, in that case, this damping matrix can be written as a function of, or this damping matrix can be written in terms of the mass matrix and the stiffness matrix. So, the whole system can be reduced to that of a diagonal mass matrix, diagonal stiffness matrix and diagonal damping matrix. So, the equations will be uncoupled and these uncoupled equations can be used to find the solution of the system. So, after this brief review about these 2 and multi degree of freedom systems, so let us see how this 2 degree of freedom system analysis is helpful for us to reduce the vibration. So, for example, consider a system. So, consider a pump or consider any internal combustion engine which are inherently unbalanced. So, these systems can be modeled as a single degree of freedom systems, single spring and mass system with a force F sin omega t applied to the system. That means the system is vibrating now, it is vibrating with the response x equal to x sin omega t at steady state. So, to reduce this vibration, so one can use another secondary mass and spring. So, this is the secondary spring and secondary mass. So, which has a frequency, which has a natural frequency equal to omega. So, if one uses a spring and mass in such way that this omega equal to root over k2 by m2, then it can be shown that this amplitude of vibration of the primary system can be reduced to 0 and the second at the same time the secondary spring and mass system will vibrate with a frequency equal to that of the applied force. So, to observe the vibration completely of a primary system, so one can use a tuned vibration observer. So, this tuned vibration observer will work for a particular frequency, that is omega, but for the system when resonance occur at many frequencies, then one can go for centrifugal type of vibration observer. So, in case of this tuned vibration observer, when one use the secondary spring and mass, then the resonance point shifts to the left and to the right. So, previously the resonance occur at a frequency omega equal to omega n, as there is no damping in the system, but if one consider damping in the system, then the resonance will occur slightly left to this omega by omega n equal to 1. So, in this case the expression for x equal to f sin omega t minus phi by m into omega n square minus omega square, where omega n is the natural frequency of the primary system, which is equal to k1 by m1 root over. So, this is the external frequency. So, this amplitude, so this is the amplitude as the damping is not there. So, when omega tends to omega n, this tends to infinity, and to reduce this vibration or to observe this vibration completely, so one can use the secondary spring and mass system. So, in that case this resonance point is shifted to right and left, and it has a amplitude of 0. So, this k1 x1 by f becomes 0 at omega equal to omega 2. So, when omega equal to omega 2, then this becomes 0. So, one may use this centrifugal type of pendulum vibration observer for observing the vibration at different frequency. Similarly, one may use vibration damper to damp out the vibrations of the system. So, for multi-degree of freedom system, already we know we can write the equation in this form: mx double dot plus kx plus cx dot equal to f. So, to find the force response of the system, one can write. So, if damping is not present in the system, or if one use Rayleigh damping, that is C, one can write equal to alpha m plus beta k. Then this equation reduces to some m. So, let me write m x double dot, or simply m one can write. So, mx double dot plus k x equal to f. Now, one can write this expression like this: x double dot by multiplying m inverse. So, it will be plus inverse into x will be equal to m inverse f. So, this equation, now this equation can be by substituting x equal to x sin omega t, or x sin, either x sin omega t or x equal to x e to the power I omega t. So, let this function f, you just write it as sin omega t, or it may be constant also. So, in that case, first you convert that thing to a set of single equation of a single degree of freedom systems, and then you just find the response of the system. Otherwise, one can find the free vibration. First one find the free vibration response of the system, then for steady state one can consider the force part of the system. So, one can use this normal mode summation method if one want to reduce a very high degree of freedom system to a lower degree of freedom system. For example, in case of a multi-storied building subjected to earthquake excitation. So, this is a multi-storied building subjected to earthquake excitation. So, as only some lower frequencies will be affecting the motion of the system. So, instead of considering all the degrees of freedom, so one may take a lower order degrees of freedom to find the equation motion or to solve the or to find the response of the system. For example, in this case let it is 100:100. If it is a 100-story building, then the equation motion will be m x double dot plus k x equal to for free vibration. So, it will be equal to 0. So, after earthquake the force, no force is acting on the system. So, it can be considered as a, if one consider the free vibration, then one can take this equal to 0. Then in that case one can take only, one can find the 100 natural frequency of the system by finding the eigenvalue of the A minus. So, let me write this equation in this form. So, it will be x double dot plus m inverse k x equal to 0. So, or one can write this x double dot plus A x equal to 0 by substituting x equal to x e to the power I omega t. So, this will reduce to minus. So, this will be minus omega square x plus a x equal to 0, or one can write this is equal to a minus lambda I x equal to 0. So, where this lambda equal to omega square. So, by finding the eigenvalue of the system, so one can find the 100 natural frequency of the system, but to find the response of the system, so one may not require all these 100 modes. So, only the first few modes may be useful for finding the response of the system. So, to find the response, let one take only first 3 modes. So, in that case one can write this x equal to, so this is p y. So, where this p will contain, p is the modal matrix that will contain only 3 columns. So, it will contain, this p will contain only 3 columns. So, these correspond to the first mode, this second column will correspond to the second mode, and third column will correspond to the third mode of the system. So, then this will reduce to, this p is reduced to 100. So, it will reduce to 100 into 3 and y will be equal to 3 into 1. So, if one substitute this in this original equation, so this is, so one can write this as m p, so m p y. So, m is 100 is to 100 and p is 100 is to 3 and y equal to 3 is to 1, and pre-multiplying. So, this will be, this equation will be m p y double dot plus k p y equal to 0. Now, pre-multiplying that p transpose. So, one can write this p transpose m p y double dot plus p transpose m p y equal to 0, but this p transpose is, so p is 100 is to 3. So, it will be 3 into 100 and m is 100 is to 100, and then this p is 100 is to 3. So, this reduces, finally it reduces to a 3 is to 3 matrix. So, instead of solving this 100 is to 100 matrix, so one can solve this 3 is to 3 matrix. So, all these matrix, so this will be 3 is to 3 matrix and this will be also 3 is to 3 matrix. So, one can solve these 3 equation to find the solution or response of the system. So, this method is known as normal mode summation of the system. So, one may note for multi-degree of freedom system, the free vibration of the system, let the free vibration of the system is written as x. So, it will be the summation of different normal modes. So, let for first mode the modal vector is written as x1, for second mode it is x2, for third mode it is x3, and for xn mode the modal vector is xn. So, one can find these modal vectors correspond to the eigenvector of the systems. So, one can write the free vibration of the system as a combination of different normal modes. So, this x will be equal to C1 x1 plus C2 x2 plus C3 x3 plus Cn xn. So, if we are considering n number of modes, then the resulting free vibration of the system can be written as the summation I equal to 1 to n C I xi. So, where Ci is the modal participation of that particular mode. So, one can find the Ci by using, that is the modal participation, by using the one can find this modal participation by using the eigen property of the system. So, now we can consider the continuous system. So, in case of continuous system or distributed mass system, unlike in case of discrete system what we have studied before, the one can have infinite number of natural frequency of the system. So, as these continuous or distributed mass systems can be represented as infinite number of spring and mass systems, then one can have infinite number of natural frequency to the system. So, for this infinite number of natural frequency, one can find infinite number of mode shapes of the system. So, mode shapes represent the variation of the points, variation of different points or vibration of different points along this length of the beam at a particular instant of time. So, one can have different boundary conditions also in this case. For example, so in this case the beam can be considered as a fixed beam, it may be considered as a simply supported beam also. So, it may be considered as a simply supported beam, or it may be considered as a cantilever beam. So, this is the example of a two rotor system. So, two rotors are mounted at the end of this. So, in this case one can observe the body will have infinite number of natural frequency if the mass of the system is taken into account. Otherwise, one may write or one may find two natural frequency of the system by considering only these two mass. So, one frequency will be the rigid body motion, as this is a semi definite system. So, one can have a rigid body motion where the frequency is 0, and other motion where one can find the frequency by find the node points. So, in this case the vibration, so if one rotate this left side in one direction and right side in opposite direction, then one mode can be observed. So, this mode, so in this mode one can write or one can find a node at this point. So, for this point, so as a node is observed at this point, so one can assume that the shaft is fixed at this point and rotating have a torsional vibration about this point. So, one can find the two natural frequency of the system by taking the stiffness of the system. So, the stiffness of the system can be found. So, if the system parameters are known to us, so by using this torsional relation T by J equal to G theta by L. So, one can find this T by theta, that is the stiffness, torsional stiffness, equal to G J by L. So, these two modes can be considered if one neglect the mass of the shaft, but when mass of the shaft is considered, then it will have infinite number of natural frequency of the system. So, one can divide or one can write the equation of motion of the longitudinal vibration of the system or the rotational vibration of the system or the lateral vibration of a taut string by using wave equation. So, by using wave equation one can find the lateral vibration of taut string, longitudinal vibration of rod or torsional vibration of shaft. So, this equation can be solved. So, this represent the inertia force and this is the stiffness part. So, one can find the equation of motion or the response of the system by solving this wave equation. So, unlike in case of discrete system where the equation of motions are written in terms of ordinary differential equations. So, here the equation of motions are written in terms of partial differential equation. So, this partial differential equation can be reduced to a set of ordinary differential equation by using variable separation method, and one can find. So, by substituting this theta equal to psi x and qt. So, one can write it, one can find the equation motion and one can find the mode shapes. So, the psi x represent the mode shape and qt represent the time modulation. So, one can find the response of the system. Similarly, for a beam in pure bending. So, in case of a beam in pure bending, so one can use this Euler-Bernoulli beam equation. So, in that case the equation can be written in this form EI del force. EI del force, so it will be replaced by partial differential equation del force y by del x force rho del square y by del t square equal to 0, because y is a function of both x and t. Now, substituting this y x t equal to phi x and q t. So, where phi is the time modulation, phi is the mode shapes and q is the time modulation. So, one can find a general expression for the mode shape as phi x equal to a cos hyperbolic beta x plus b sin hyperbolic beta x plus c beta x plus d sin beta x. So, by using different boundary conditions, so one can find the actual response of the system. So, the different boundary conditions includes, so for a fixed beam, so let us consider a fixed beam. So, in case of this fixed beam, the boundary conditions, so displacement and slopes are 0. So, one can have both displacement and slope equal to 0 at both the ends. Okay. So, here displacement equal to 0 and slope equal to 0 at both the ends. So, one can get 4 boundary conditions, 2 for this left end and 2 for the right end, that is phi x equal to phi 0 equal to 0 and phi dash 0 equal to 0. Similarly, phi L equal to 0 and phi dash L equal to 0. Similarly, one can get the equation motion for a cantilever beam. So, in this case of cantilever beam, so at the fixed end the boundary conditions are same as that of the fixed beam, but at the right end as it is free. So, one can have natural boundary condition or force boundary conditions. So, those are shear force equal to 0 and bending moment equal to 0. So, for a simply supported beam which can be represented by this, the boundary conditions are displacement equal to 0 and bending moment equal to 0. So, displacement correspond to your phi x. So, phi 0 will be equal to 0 and for bending moment it will be phi double dash 0 equal to 0. Phi double dash is del square phi by del x, d square phi by dx square. So, similarly, at this end, so phi L equal to 0 and phi dash double dash L equal to, so phi dash L equal to 0. So, in this case phi 0 equal to 0, phi dash 0 equal to 0, bending moment correspond to phi double dash L equal to 0 and shear force correspond to phi triple dash L equal to 0. Similarly, for a free beam, one can find the boundary conditions similar to that of the right side of the cantilever beam. So, using these boundary conditions in the generalized equation, so one can find the frequency equation and the mode shapes of the system. So, here different mode shapes and frequency equations. So, these are different mode shapes and one can find different frequencies corresponding to beta L. One can write the frequency equation omega square, or omega will be equal to beta square L square root over E I by rho L fourth. So, for different boundary conditions, so the first three modes has been calculated. So, for example, in case of simply supported, it will be pi square beta square L square will be pi square, and second mode is 4 times the first mode and third mode is 9 times the first mode. Similarly, for different boundary conditions, they have been found like this. And the mode shapes for a simply supported, for example, in case of simply supported, the shape will be like this, either it will be this or it may move upward or downward. So, this is downward it is shown, one can have the upward motion also. Similarly, in this case one can have another motion also. Similarly, so here one can observe a single node. So, a single node can be observed, single node is observed at the middle point. Single node is observed at this middle point. Similarly, one can see there are number of modes will goes on increasing with increase in the modes of the system. So, this is for simply supported beam. Similarly, one can find for fixed. So, both displacement and slopes are 0. So, for this is for first mode. So, this is for second mode, third mode and like that. So, for the cantilever beam, so either it can move upward or downward in the first mode. So, one has a node in the second mode, similarly for third and higher. So, this way one can study the single degree of freedom system, 2 degrees of freedom system, multi degrees of freedom system or continuous systems. By finding the eigen values of the systems, one can find the accurate response of the system, frequency and response of the system. Also, one may use different approximate methods to study or to find the natural frequency of the system. For example, one may use this Rayleigh method. So, in which one will equate the maximum potential energy with that of the maximum kinetic energy to find the frequency. In case of a rotor system with multiple mass or multiple disk, one can find approximately the natural frequency by using Donkoly procedure. So, in case of Donkoly procedure, so let this is a shaft with multiple mass. So, let 3 masses are there and let it is simply supported. So, without mass, if one know the natural frequency of the system, let it is omega s, then the natural frequency of the system omega square will be equal to 1 by omega s square plus 1 by omega 1 square plus 1 by omega 2 square plus 1 by omega 3 square, and if there are n masses, then it will go up to that. So, where omega 1, omega 2, omega 3 are the natural frequency of the system when the shaft is considered to be massless. So, this omega s is the natural frequency of the system when one consider the mass of the shaft in the absence of this disk. So, as already we have seen, this is a continuous system with infinite number of natural frequency. So, one can get infinite number of natural frequency for this omega s, and by taking care this omega 1, omega 2 and omega 3, the total response or the natural frequency of the system can be determined approximately. Here to determine, for example, omega 1, so one can find it in this way. So, this is the mass. So, due to this mass one can find what is the deflection, let the deflection is delta. So, if the deflection is delta, then one can find the natural frequency omega 1 will be equal to root over g by delta. So, by knowing this delta, that is the deflection of the system due to this mass, so one can find the natural frequency of the system. So, this is the Donkali procedure. Similarly, one may use matrix iteration method, Holzer method, transfer matrix method, Rayleigh method and Galerkin method to approximately find the natural frequencies of the systems. So, these can be used, for example, this method of matrix iteration, Holzer method, transfer matrix method can be used for multi degree of freedom systems, and one can easily find the natural frequency of the system by using this Rayleigh method, where a function, where a assumed function can be used. So, this assumed function may not be the eigenfunction. Assumed functions are determined by taking only the geometric boundary conditions of the system. So, let us, so this is a brief review about the linear systems. So, now we can study about the nonlinear systems, because the nonlinear analysis required the knowledge of a linear system. These two classes we have used for briefly reviewing the linear systems. Let us see how a linear system and a nonlinear systems different. So, in this case, the spring mass damper system, we have assumed the spring to be linear. So, assuming the spring to be linear, that means if you apply a force F to the spring, then the displacement is force and displacement curve is linear. So, if one plot this force versus displacement, so this is force of the spring and this is displacement, then the curve is like this. But in actual case, the curve will not be linear, the curve may be different. Similarly, for this damper, we are assuming the damping force F to be linearly proportional to the velocity. That is why we have written this force F equal to C x dot. Similarly, one can have this nonlinear inertia force also. So, let us take a system. So, the system, in case of a linear system, if when we are applying a force F, we are getting the response x. So, in block diagram representation, so we can write x t equal to x t when applied here. So, this is dt and this is f t, where dxt is the differential operator. So, in block diagram representation one can write, so this is the output when a input f t is applied to a system, one can have, so this is f t is the input to the system, so one can have the output of the system. So, in this case this is the response of the system and this is the forcing of the system. So, in case of linear system, so it satisfy both homogeneity property and additive property. In case of homogeneity property, so if we are applying a force F t, the response is x t. If for a given force F t, the response is x t. If we apply a force alpha F t, where alpha is in constant. So, if we are applying a force alpha F t, then the response would be alpha x t. So, this is homogeneity property of the system. Similarly, for a force F 1, if the response is x 1, and for another force F 2, if the response is x 2, then if these two forces are applied simultaneously, that means if a force F 1 plus F 2 applied to the system, then the response should be x 1 plus x 2. So, that is additive property. So, for any linear system we have seen, so in these cases both homogeneity and additive properties have been additive and homogeneity property. So, it should obey both homogeneity and additive property, but let us see. So, in case of homogeneity property, so for a given alpha, for a force alpha f t, the response would be alpha x t. That means, in mathematical form if you can write, so d of alpha x t should be alpha d x t. Similarly, for additive property, when we are applying this force F1t plus F22 simultaneously, then the response would be x1t plus x2t in mathematical form using this operator. So, if you can replace this xt by x1t plus x2t, so this equation should be dx1t plus x2t should be dx1t plus dx2t. So, if these rules are satisfied, then the system is called to be linear, and if these properties are not satisfied, then the system is nonlinear system. So, for example, in case of a linear spring, so this is linear, and one can see if we are adding some torque to this. So, for example, in this case, let us take k equal to 1 Newton meter. So, this curve is f equal to kx, this is linear curve, and then so if you are adding plus minus k1 x square, where I have taken k1 equal to 0.01. So, there is slight variation in this linear. So, one can see up to certain position the response is, or the force versus displacement response is linear, and after that the response is nonlinear. So, this is for k1 plus minus k1 x square, and this one is plus minus k2 k1 x cube. So, in this case, if one can see, let for a particular value of so for a particular value of x, let us see what is happening for a particular value of x. So, in this case, when it is linear, f equal to kx, and if you compare for this, so let us compare this curve with this curve. So, in this case, for this displacement, so or to have this displacement, one can apply a force this, and for this case, so one has to apply. So, let us take 2 point on this. So, one has to apply this amount of force to have a displacement this. In this case, one can have so it may be noted in this case, for the same displacement less amount of force is applied, but in this case more force is applied for the same amount of displacement. So, this spring can be called as a hard spring, and the other spring is a soft spring. So, we may have a hard spring or a soft spring. So, due to the presence of this type of spring, the force displacement relationship cannot be linear. So, in that case one can write a nonlinear equation, but one can compare the order of nonlinearity. Here I have used k1 equal to 0.1, but if I will take a value, if I will take a higher value, then one can see the linear portion is getting less and less. So, now let us see, you take this example, let us take this example mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx, we have taken a nonlinear spring. So, due to that nonlinear spring, so this term is added to the system. So, now the system equation become mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx plus epsilon kx q equal to f sin omega t. So, dxt can be written like this. So, ft equal to this. So, let us see whether this homogeneity and additive rules are violated or not. So, to check the homogeneity rule, so let us replace this xt by alpha xt. So, when you replace this xt by alpha xt, we got this expression. So, this is equal to m alpha x double dot plus c alpha x plus k alpha x plus epsilon k alpha x cube, but this epsilon k alpha x q is not equal to alpha x q. So, to obey this homogeneity rule, it should have been alpha epsilon k x q. So, this is not equal to alpha f x. So, for that purpose, so this does not obey this homogeneity rule. Similarly, one can see that it violate the additive rules also. So, today class we have briefly reviewed the 2 degree of freedom system, multi degree of freedom system and continuous systems. So, by using this modal analysis principle, we have seen that one can reduce a coupled equation to a set of uncoupled equation and solve those equation as that of a single degree of freedom systems. And in case of continuous system, one can use or one can solve those continuous system by using different principles. So, one can use different approximate principle to find the system response, and this nonlinear system and linear system can be differentiated by using the superposition rule. So, while in case of linear system obey the superposition rule, so we have seen with this example that the nonlinear this superposition rule is violated. So, in case of nonlinear system, or one can distinguish a nonlinear system by applying this superposition rule to its differential equation of motion. So, next class we will see what are the different phenomena associated with the nonlinear system. Thank you.